Hey everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today we'll learn how to create neon button animation using HTML and CSS. So stick around because by the end of this video, you'll know how to create this eye-catching neon button. So let's get started. Here we have a button element. It represents as a clickable button. Next we have a style attribute that is used to apply inline CSS style. Here we set the custom CSS variable to the color, which represents as a shade of a green color. Next we have a span element with the text button and an eye element. Here we have a 4 button element. The first one we set the shade of a green color, and the second button we set the shade of a pink color, and in the third we set a shade of a cyan color, and in the fourth we set a shade of a purple color. Now let's set CSS. Here we have a universal selector. We set the margin and the padding to 0. Box sizing is set to border box. Now let's tell the body element. Here display is set to flex. Flex direction is set to column. So the child elements will be stacked on top of each other. Gap is set to 1 rem so that the gap provides spacing between element. Align item and justify content is set to center. Mean height is set to 100 VH, and here we set the background color with a dark gray color. Now let's tell the button element. Here we set the position to relative. Background is set to dark gray color. Color is set to white. Text decoration is set to none, so that it removes any text decoration from the button text. Text transform is set to uppercase. Border is set to none, so that it removes any border around the button. Letter spacing is set to 0.1 rem, so that it adds a bit of extra spacing between character. Font size is set to 1 rem. Padding is set to 1 rem and 3 rem. And the transition is set to 0.2 second. This means that when the properties of the button change on hover, the change will happen smoothly over this duration. Now let's set some hover effect. Here letter spacing is set to 0.2 rem. It increases the letter spacing on hover. Padding is set to 1.1 rem and 3.1 rem. It increases the padding slightly on hover, making the button a bit larger. Next we set the background color. Here we change the text of the color on the same CLR variable on hover, and the animation here we set box 3 second infinite, so that it applies an animation name box to the button on hover, and the animation lasts for 3 seconds. Now let's set before schedule element. Here content is set to an empty string. Position is set to absolute. Inset is set to 2 pixels, so they set the top, right, button and left properties of the schedule element. And here we set the background color to a dark gray color, creating a border effect around the button element. Now let's style the span element. Here position is set to relative and the Z index is set to 1. So this is set the stacking order of the span element. Now let's tell the I element. Here position is set to absolute, insert is set to 0, so that it effectively anchors it to cover the entire button, and the display is set to lock. Now let's set before schedule element. Here content is set to an empty string, position is set to absolute, width is set to 10 pixel and height is set to 2 pixel. So this set the dimension of the schedule element, creating a horizontal line. Left is set to 80%, top is set to -2 pixel, so that position the schedule element 80% from the left edge. Border is set to 2 pixels solid with the color defined by the CLR variable. Background is set to dark gray color, and here we add a transition effect of 0.2 second to smoothly animate change of the schedule element. Now let's apply schedule element inside an I element. Here width is set to 15 pixel, left is set to 20%, animation is set to move 3 second infinite, so that the animation lasts for 3 seconds and repeat infinitely. Now let's set after schedule element. Here content is set to an empty string, position is set to absolute, width is set to 10 pixel and the height is set to 2 pixel. So this set the dimension of the schedule element, creating a horizontal line. Left is set to 20%, button is set to -2 pixel, border is set to 2 pixels solid with the color of defined by CLR variable. And here we set the background color dark gray color, and here we add a transition effect of 0.2 second so that it smoothly animate changes in this schedule element. Now let's apply schedule element inside an I element. Here width is set to 15 pixel, left is set to 80%, animation is set to move 3 second infinite. Now let's set keyframe. Here the keyframe animation name is move. So 0% is the start of the animation. We set the transform to translate X 0, which means it stayed in the original position. And next we have a 50%. Here we set the transform to translate X 5 pixel. That is, the schedule element is translated horizontally by 5 pixel to right. And the 100%, here we set the transform to translate X 0. Now let's set keyframe for box. Here 0 point is the starting point, and here we apply a box shadow that is set to a shade dark gray color. At 50%, box shadow is set to 0, 0, 25 pixel with a color defined by the CLR variable. At 100%, we set the box shadow to a dark grey color. So that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching today's video. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content like this.